All right, now that I had a chance to mess around with the OnePlus 13, the 512 gigabyte model, 16 gigs of RAM for a few days, I wanted to go over some of the things that I did not like, that I hate about the OnePlus phone. Don't get me wrong, I like this phone a lot. I like the fast charging, the screen, the Aqua Touch, all those features. But there's just some software things that I just really hate about this phone that Samsung has, and things that I hate about Samsung. But we're going to talk about OnePlus here. Now, before I start, I just want to say these problems been here since Carl Pei left, and they had Color OS, the new Oxygen software on here. So we'll go ahead and go through my list that the things that they need to improve, which I don't think they're going to improve, but we'll do the first thing. All right, the first thing. This is very important to me, and Samsung does this perfect. I mean, their software is really good. The first thing is chat bubbles. If you guys ever use the Google Messages, you're playing a game, and then you need to send a message or something, or you look up real quick. Chat bubbles is in the corner to whoever you're messaging, and it shows up. You just click on it. You could chat whatever you want with it, and then put it away while you're in a movie or a game. It's very useful. All you got to do is go into the settings and put it on. One thing about chat bubble, and this ties into the always on display, is the chat bubble. If I use the chat bubble, the problem is that, especially with my watch or whatever, that if I go back to the always on display, even if I opened up the chat bubble, that it still shows the chat icon, and it won't go away unless you go inside the actual chat, and open it up. Even though you read it through the chat bubble, it doesn't recognize that you read the chat bubble through the always on display. So when you go back to the always on display, it just shows that you got an unread message, and it confuses you, like, what? I got another message. You go back, there's no new message. And that's the thing. It doesn't recognize that you did anything or read anything with when you have the chat bubble. So unfortunately on this phone, I have to turn it off. One of my favorite features, I have to turn it off. Can't use it with this phone because it messes up with the chat bubble. They don't have a dedicated form. They do have a form, but they don't have any form where there's developers on there that will answer you. There's no way to even let them know about the bug. I guess not enough people use it, but if you guys use it, it's really good. Another thing, this been going on for a long time, and all these things been going on for a long time since Color OS. Wi-Fi calling. This phone has Wi-Fi calling in other countries like India and Asia and stuff like that. I think it's the problem of AT&T. They don't give out the provisions or whatever. It can never get it to work, Wi-Fi calling on AT&T, T-Mobile, or whatever it is. This phone is used in the U.S. The signal's fine, everything. Can't get Wi-Fi calling. Wi-Fi calling is needed. I think it's the greedy corporate carriers that won't enable Wi-Fi calling provisions to a phone that is not AT&T branded. Third thing, do not disturb. Do not disturb on Samsung is very good. Do not disturb on iPhone is very good. Do not disturb on Google Pixel is very good. Do not disturb on Motorola is very good. On OnePlus is garbage. And it goes all the way back again to the always on display. I love the always on display on every phone, but it just they lack in it. It's like, so what's the point of having a always do not disturb if you got a message and it still shows the icon on the screen when you have the do not disturb? It's supposed to give you the option, just like if you look into Pixel, if you look into Samsung, where you could show icons, no icons, show badges, no badges, and you could turn it off. What's the point of having do not disturb when all you got to do is turn the tab thing to silent? I mean, the whole point of do not disturb is like so you can get the messages, but it don't show that you have an option to hide the icons. They don't put that on their Color OS. Stupid. Don't do that. Let it so you can hide the icons on the always on display and hide the icons on top of the bar, because it always shows even if you have do not disturb on. Sucks. Oh, One thing I forgot to add on there before I go to the always on display, because it's all tied on there. The other thing is this phone, Samsung has it, Motorola has it, Pixel doesn't have it, but this phone starts to follow the trend of Pixel phones, where when you have a notification on one of the icons, it only shows a red dot. What the heck is it? Red dot's useless, man. Give me numbers. Let me know how many notifications I got. Give me 3 notifications, 4 notifications. Samsung does it. Motorola does it. This is following the Pixel trend. They just went cheap on there, and then they were just like, okay, we're just going to put a red dot. There is an option that you could do numbers, and they keep saying, oh, well, it's the developers. No, it's not the developers. You can make your software work with how many notifications and have it counted and show the red icon, just like the iPhone, just like the Samsungs, just like Motorola, have like 2 or 3, whatever, how many notifications you got in there. Because, I mean, like, thing is that, like, I know I got a red dot. How do I know if I'm missing 5 notifications? How do I know if, like, somebody's been messaging me 5, 6 times? You never know. You might be thinking like, oh, it's like an unimportant message, like, oh, we got a deal for buy one get one free, and then it has a red dot just because you got a notification. But then I know with the numbers, oh, 5, then all of a sudden 6, then 7, then I know that, it's a different message, or a port message, or whatever. Get that on there. Seriously, that sucks. Fix that. Put the numbers on there and give the option to it. And if you guys like dots, or if you don't want to take it off, like, at least give the option to have the numbers on there. And last comes down to the always on display. That's the thing that needs work. I love how iPhone and Samsung does it, where you got your live wallpaper or whatever wallpaper in the back, and then you got your always on display. It fades in the background, makes it darker. iPhone has it so you can turn it off or on. Samsung has it, you can turn it off or on. It's awesome. Keep that on the always on display. Like, I don't want just a black screen and then your clock and that's it. And you don't even got widgets on there. You need widgets. I want to know what my battery level is on my watch. I want to know what battery level on other things. I want to know the weather, and not just the degrees. I want to know, like, like if it's gonna rain, sunny, or whatever it is, just like how the iPhone does it, just like how Samsung does it. Put some widgets on the always on display, just like how Nothing OS does it. Put some widgets on there. They need to really work on the always on display. They just like put that as an afterthought. We just added it. Took them so long to do that always on display because of battery life and this and that. And I understand people say, oh, it wastes a lot of power. Well, give the option to turn it off and on. Like, I got a 6,000 milliamp battery in here. Like, I could last 2 days, but I charge my phone every day. I want to see my cool wall background paper faded in the background on my always on display, and I want to know little live alert messages on my always on display. Just basically make the lock screen. What's the point of having a lock screen? Like, you might as well just take away the lock screen, or just have the lock screen. And well, don't take away the always on display, but what's the point of having a lock screen? Because, I mean, you got the always on display, and then when I put my fingerprint on there, it goes straight to the main homepage. What's the point of having a lock screen if you don't even use that for the always on display? Use it. What is this little bar thing? Like, I'm gonna count how long I use the phone and gaps when I don't use the phone. No, it doesn't. See, you see how it goes like this? This is very nice. Have this and just make it dark, and just, you could put the icons or have the notifications like iPhone, but you need to work on the always on display. Come on, OnePlus, work on the always on display. This was good maybe 10 years ago, but now always on display is supposed to be vibrant, colorful. Like, don't worry about the battery life. 6,000, you got the carbon silicon battery or whatever. 6,000, you got more battery, like almost twice the battery in iPhone, and they still got always on display with the background. More battery than a Samsung phone. They only got 5,000 on the Ultra, and even less on the Plus, and they're still using the background images. Use it. If you don't like it, at least give the option. I don't even care if it uses 50% of my battery life in 1 hour just because I use that. I don't care. Give it to me. I'll walk around with 50% and battery gone in 1 hour. That's fine with me, as long as I get to see widgets, weather, this and that, and notifications, and my cool background. I'd rather have that. You guys, you know, they DisplayMate gave them an A+++ screen and all that, but what's that useful for when most of the time your phone is off and you staring at the always on display and you can't even see your cool background paper? It's garbage. Fix those things, OnePlus. Fix it.